Hello, BookTube. Very, very sorry for my late arrival here. I swear it was not cheap theatrics. I swear. I swear it was not. I was involved with unexpected back and forth with an editor, and it went long. I kept telling him I've got imaginary people to talk to. He didn't seem to take it in the way that I intended. Uh, so I didn't mean for that, but well, I'm here now, and I actually do have a subject this time around. I know that that doesn't mean much because you're going to drag me off topic right away, but uh, uh, I have a topic that is ripped from the BookTube headlines. I watched two videos today that perfectly dovetailed with each other, and it made me think. What made me want to talk about it a little, and also ask you about it a lot. I watched a video from Michael K. Vaughan, naturally, since he's there's a handful of 20 or 30 booktube channels that are must watch. If they do a video, you're going to watch it. You're not going to put it aside and do it later. He did a video about rest in peace mass market paperbacks. He did a wonderful video about the mass market paperback form, which he correctly says in his video transformed the world of publishing, and I would argue the world of reading in the 20th century. We suddenly had Lost Horizon. We had mass market paperbacks, little cheap things that were not meant to be displayed in libraries in your house. They were not meant to last. They were only meant for you to pay a little bit for them, a couple of coins, and have a reading experience. Uh, it was a fascinating video, and mere minutes later, I watched a new video from Criminali, also appointment booktube, where he talks about the basic Kindle, this thing, the basic entry, the new basic entry level Kindle, which it's relatively cheap. It's $100, but that's a fraction of what you would pay for a lot of other electronic devices, and it has slightly raised bezels. It's not a flat surface like in the incredibly popular Paperwhite. I got mine in denim blue. Ollie has his in black. The black version uh, is 70% recycled plastic, and the denim blue is not. It's like 30% recycled plastic. But I didn't have any of the devices that were denim blue, so I said to hell with the environment. And Ollie was talking. He gives you a very good, brief, technical overview of what you're getting with the basic Kindle and how it measures up to the other Kindles that he has. He has quite a few of them. And I watched those two videos back to back, uh, and it got me thinking, almost like they were planned. Did Michael K. Vaughan and Criminali coordinate their videos? Did they plan them together in bed? It's the kind of shipping that nobody on BookTube wants. And once again, at the mention of shipping, Mark Richardson's ears perk up in Vermont. And once again, we have to tell him, no, sorry, this is not your favorite kind of shipping. This is your least favorite kind of shipping. I thought those two videos worked really well together because on the one hand, Michael K. Vaughan was talking about one of, I would argue, the most effective book delivery system ever invented. And on the other hand, Ollie was talking about the thing that is going to replace them, the thing that already has replaced all other book delivery systems for millions of people, uh, for whatever reason, because they are incredibly convenient. It is incredibly convenient to have this thing. You you could spend an hour listing the conveniences. You don't need a bookmark. You don't need a pencil. You don't need space to write notes. You don't need to remember what you're reading or where you are. You don't need to worry about storage or anything like that. You don't need to worry about anything. You don't need to worry about lugging in a shoulder bag. Nothing like that. Uh, it could be the convenience. That could be the reason why these are so popular. It could also be that books tend to be cheaper in this ecosystem. Not everybody has dollar books at the Brattle. Books tend to be cheaper. There's also a higher reason, which is that these have a much lower ecological footprint than print and paper books. Obviously, they do rather obviously. These some of the components, especially two of the internal components of these e-readers, are pretty noxious as an extraction procedure, but nowhere near raising forests, pulping and streaming paper, driving trucks back and forth to warehouses, nowhere near what books do, the ecological footprint that books have. Whatever the reason, these have taken over completely, or almost completely, for printed books for lots and lots of people. So I couldn't help but view the two together. It immediately made me think. It made me think of my own, and I wanted to show you some examples. I have the Kindle Basic. I paid for this, uh, which was great. Um, I made the decision to just plunk the $100, get it new from Amazon. I also have. Uh, let's see what else we have here. Well, of course, you can read on your phone, but the phone is $1,000. So you're not probably going to want to do that. It's not a cheap device, but you can get for $150. You can get an iPad Mini, and you can read on it. A lot of reading on it. It's a very convenient device to read on. But I also have here a couple of others. I have my Kindle Oasis, which is it's the high end model. One before they started with the Kindle Scribe, which is full size. This was their high end model. You see, it's metal instead of plastic. It has this ergonomic shape where the battery is that allows you to grip it. It has page turn buttons, and it has a flat screen rather than a recessed one, but it's got great resolution. Actually, this is years and years old. Both of these things are 300 ppi, which is pixels per inch, which is pretty sharp. That that is pretty sharp. They're both very responsive, and I also have a couple of Kobos, a totally different ecosystem, but a different formation. I have the bigger Kobo, and I have the smaller Kobo, and they both have the same form factor as the Oasis. See, they have a bezel on one side that's wider with page turn buttons. I use these things a lot more uh, as go-to e-reading devices than I do now, because for a long time, uh, of course, all your e-reading needs are in EPUB format, and for a long time, Kindles didn't take that. They wouldn't accept it. They wouldn't read it. So you had to go through. If you wanted to read something on a Kindle, you had to go through the rigmarole of converting it, going to a site and converting it from one format to another, and then sending it again. And then Amazon changed that, so Kindles now take EPUB, and the fact that this takes EPUB has rendered my Kobos. I don't go to them as much because, as good as they both are for reading books, the Amazon device also has access to all of the Amazon ecosystem. Amazon Unlimited, which I pay for, all the free Amazon books that are made with Amazon with Kindle Direct Publishing, so that if the publisher or the writer decides make it $1 or make it nothing, make it free, you can fill your e-reader with those things and just explore them at your leisure. And that doesn't and a rough equivalent exists in the Kobo market, but it's nowhere near as big. So my Kobos have largely gone, on a shelf and not stayed there. I might add, they went on a shelf a year ago. Both of them still have power, uh, but those things are. Oh God, there's a chat. There's 76 people here. How can that be? Oh, okay. Well, I've been missing a lot of the chat. Uh, Heather Gregg says thump, and you can have a book slip to the floor without cracking the screen. The e-reader just thudded to the floor. Aaron says, does anyone else remember the minor scandal when Amazon, ironically, surreptitiously deleted a free copy of 1984 included in the first Kindle? I do. I do. I'd explain it to customers. Yeah, when it was, and the irony here is that it wasn't just any book that they reached out and deleted. They pulled it off of millions of devices. It was the first wake up call that people had, that they didn't control the files that they download from Amazon. And it wasn't just any book; it was 1984 that they pulled. That is, I want to stress, that is the virtue of side loading all of your material. If you get it from the Amazon store, you are in fact leasing it. So Amazon could take it back. Now, Amazon, even if your Amazon device, even if your Kindle is completely full of side-loaded stuff, so Amazon has no control over those files, they do have control over the device. They could pulse it so that it dies. But yeah, I have backups. I have Kindles and an iPhone. Do you want to come down here, baby? Yeah. Oh, there you go. Oh, there you go. Oh. We had an afternoon walk that was usually our afternoon walks are epic. They're just gigantic, but it's gray and raw here. Neither one of us really wanted to be. We went out with all the vim and vigor in the world, and then we got about, I don't know, a mile, and then both of us was sort of like, "Oh, I don't know about this." So, but we got back and we are in, installment number 1,755,000 of Frida's weird relationship with food. Ordinarily, when we come back from a walk, even a short one, she's willing to eat. But no, she's looking at her food bowl as if she's never seen it before. But anyway, uh, these devices are going to replace these things. These are the things that Michael K. Vaughan was talking about: mass markets, mass market paperbacks. And they, as you all know, because you've all used them, they can come in all kinds of shape. Here is Hand in Glove by Nio Marsh. You can see it's got the green edges there. It's battered and folded. It's this paperback came out in 1973. Then you've got this thing. Look at this thing. This is in terrible shape, literally falling apart. This will get one. It's a flip book. It's two books in one, and it will get literally one read out of me, and then that'll be it. See, the cover is almost off. I haven't reinforced this yet. I will. But this was 1968, and it was read to hell. So it is falling apart, and it also wasn't laminated. Neither one of these things was laminated. As mass markets got a little older, manufacturers, in order to justify the higher price, made them a little better. Usually the spines were a little bit better glued and the covers were lightly laminated. Like, for instance, this. See what I mean? See how that shines? That's not because this is new. It's that this is not just cardboard. This is just a higher grade stock of paper than the paper that the pages are printed on. This is more than that. The cover alone, the pages are still, this is nice and solid, but the cover has a kind of a plastic sheen to it, designed to make it last longer. Same thing with, for instance, this, The Bad Samaritan by Robert Barnett. You can see this has a sheen to it. This is a floppy penguin paper, so the binding here is really well done. And also the book itself is, this is not going to dry up and crack off and flake off in dust. That's not going to happen with this cover, whereas it would happen with this cover, for instance, Ringworld by Larry Niven. This paperback came out in, let's see here, signed by Larry Niven in 1984, but this paperback came out in 1970. And if I hadn't put, it was falling apart when I got it. I'm going to do this to the Westerns. If I hadn't put some tape over this cover, it would be flaking and dusting off. Because it wasn't laminated. It wasn't made the way the others were. So, care was put into mass markets, but Michael K. Vaughan was absolutely right. You go into a bookstore now, you're barely going to see any mass market paperbacks. There'll be a couple of towers for dedicated publishers that are dedicated to doing that, but otherwise, no. And that is the kiss of death, right? If it's not in a bookstore, then it doesn't exist. If mass market paperbacks are leaving bookstores, then they're leaving the world because the online interest will not be enough to support them. But wait, it's where I'm still missing the chat here. Here, let me. Katrin Vieri says, "Hi, Steve. Greetings from Estonia. Good Lord. Unfortunately, can't stay because it's past midnight here. Tomorrow's work day for me, but have a good stream, and I'll be looking forward to watching it tomorrow." I'm done with my theme. My theme was two BookTube videos that interconnected, unwittingly. One about the death of mass market paperbacks and one about the latest Kindle. Those two subjects are inextricably linked. Let's see here. The Spaminator is here. Mass market paperbacks are a double-edged sword for me. Sometimes printed poorly, narrow margins, and the text gutter, so you have to crack the spine. If done wrong, it's literally the worst option. Yeah. Well. Okay. Well. Okay. Well. If it's done wrong, it's literally the worst option, except for our hardcover that's done wrong, which has all of those same features, of those negative features, and is much heavier. So, I think a number of people have mentioned, I think even Michael K. Vaughan mentioned it in his video, that nowadays when I think about reading, I go straight to the Kindle. I think first about this, because this has unlimited space for me to annotate. There is no gutter loss. There is no spine to worry about. Nothing like that. Nothing at all. There might be a tiny bit of worry with a Kindle Oasis because it's a fancy device, but I have seen tech tubers hold up their Kindle Oasis, take a box cutter, and scrape it like that on the Gorilla Glass, and it has no effect. I'm not sure if I were standing up, so this was 4.5 feet off the ground. No, I'm not. I'm taller than 4.5 feet, but I mean, if the device were down here, I'm 4.5 feet off the ground. I'm pretty sure that if I dropped this, it wouldn't crack, and that's nothing compared to this. This might be a Kindle Basic. This might be a less pretty, less bells and whistles Kindle, but it's tough. It's a tough little machine. I know that already. And the Kobos are pure plastic. They're even tougher. Anyway, Jenny Parks. My very first copy of Lord of the Rings is mass market paperback, and it's held together with sellotape and sheer willpower, but I refuse to get rid of it. Yeah, I have the very box set that Mike held up in his video. I have that same one. I have the earlier one, the first one that came out. That I have it. For instance, one of the first really uh, widely distributed box sets of Lord of the Rings was a big trade paperback set. Some of you will probably know what I mean. It had a white box with original bad artwork on it and white trade paperbacks on the inside that slipped out. That was the Lord of the Rings set that I really, really fell in love with the books for. And I have it. I have a copy of it, but it's not in good shape at all. Uh, Omnipotent Puar is responding to Aaron. Marco Aurelio Silva. Hi, Steve. What do you think of Doris Lessing's Shikasta series? Well, that's off topic, but I don't like it. Jay Rosen says, I have two. Oh, wait. Oh, no, wait. Where'd you go? Hang on a second here. I'm going to find you. I have two reading vehicles nearby, my basic Kindle in black and my mass market copy of Coleridge Early Visions. Yeah, yeah. And the neat thing about those two videos together is that they sort of juxtaposed the strengths and weaknesses, I guess. An old topic, the strengths and weaknesses of these things. I think that the weaknesses of mass market paperbacks tend to get more obvious as they get older. But is that completely fair to say? Because how do we know how this is going to age? I mean, this thing is this flip paperback. Oh my God, I really need to reinforce this. This is in really terrible shape. This is from 1968. That's 50 years. Will I still be able to use this in 50 years? And is that even an important question? What if I can't use it in 50 years, but the entirety of my library can be shifted to any new device? I think it's fascinating. And the two videos together, Ollie's talking about the very latest in e-reading technology. He has the newest Kindle Paperwhite, the signature edition. He has the Kindle Scribe. He's spraying the money for the Kindle Scribe. He has this new Kindle Basic. He was talking about that, and Mike was talking about mass market paperbacks that all of us had by the thousands and fell in love with. I don't have any qualms about saying that I consider mass market paperbacks to be a nearly perfect technological device. I've said that for decades. It's only the arrival of literally a better mousetrap. Literally, someone has redesigned the book. It's only the arrival of this that shows up the weaknesses of this. Quite a few of them, anyway. Let's see here. Matt Sheridan. Hi, Steve, and hello to my fellow chat members. Just me. You covered your bases by saying hello, Steve. They are losers. So you don't need to say hi to them. That reading guide, thrillers and romance books are still in mass market. Some of them, not all of them. Quite a bit of romances have gone to electronic only. But it doesn't really matter if thrillers and romance and maybe a little science fiction or maybe tie-ins. I saw Wheel of Time tie-ins and whatnot. It doesn't really matter whether or not somebody still brings those out. It matters whether or not they're in bookstores. If they're not in your big box retail bookstore in America, they don't exist. And they're dead or dying. If the bookstore isn't going to have them, then what real difference does it make if Macmillan is still making a few? I don't know. Anyway, Nick Piccarilli, we're at 81 people in 20 minutes. Nick Piccarilli says, my local Barnes & Noble put most of the mass markets together on one shelf. Yes, nowadays, most Barnes & Nobles will have a big Dalek-shaped tower that has mass markets in it, or those larger prestige format mass markets, or the new kind of mass market paperbacks that are shaped like a Kindle. They're square. They will have one of those, or two of those, or maybe three of those. The Barnes and Noble that we used to have here in Boston, that was the place where I looked when I went in. That was where I did my shopping. The entire rest of the store was trade paperbacks and hardcovers. But you could still find mass market paperbacks there. And since publishers don't tend to send me mass market paperbacks, that's where I would do my shopping. But once upon a time, when I started working at Barnes and Noble a long, long time ago, there were a lot of mass market paperbacks. It was a big part of our business, and it just steadily has decreased. Monet Doyle says, I love having my purse full of paperback books. Heather Gregg says, you've missed the discuss earlier in chat. Ever tried making a collage with a Kindle? I don't think even Picasso could have managed it. Also like a sensory deprivation experience compared to a book. Well, I don't agree about the second part. And the first part isn't about reading, right? You can't fault a Kindle for not being good at not reading. That's something that doesn't have anything to do with reading. Some Bunny says, I love my Kobo. It's so easy to use on Overdrive and borrow library books. I resisted e-readers for a long time and realize now what I was missing out on. Yeah, I love the Kobos too. I sometimes feel a twinge of guilt that I never touch mine anymore. Once upon a time, they have thousands of books on. Once upon a time, they were indispensable to me because I could connect them directly to my laptop and transfer book files in EPUB all day long. At the same time, when if I wanted to put an EPUB on a Kindle, I had to go find some free site, move it, load it onto that site, wait for the site to convert it into Mobi, and then send it to Kindle. But now Kindles take EPUB, so that whole step, that whole ecosystem is gone. Blue Laser Ryan, what's your opinion of AI narrated audiobooks? Well, I don't delve into audiobooks at all, so I don't know how AI has changed things. I would imagine that it's putting a lot of voice actors out of business because AI can only get better at that, and it can get better exponentially, which means that, by now, most AI is indistinguishable from a human voice. And in 2 years, no one even waiting for it will be able to tell the difference. Even down to an AI technician who is a friend of mine who said that it's even down to the slight hint of regional intonation and occasionally an or a throat clearing. Engineers are working those things into AI in order specifically to make it indistinguishable from human speech. And also, very soon, in our immediate future, not just our lifetime, but in our immediate future, very soon, you will be able to pay for or for free to custom the skin of your AI audio narration. In other words, you will be able to put a skin on the whole book. So let's say you've got an audiobook of The Prime of Miss Jean Brodie. Or, well, even better, an audiobook of The Prime of Miss Jean Brodie, let's say, by Muriel Spark, her great novel, The Prime of Miss Jean Brodie. There is an audiobook of that. In fact, I think there's two. But in very little time, in no more than 3 years, you will have the option of asking your audiobook narration, the AI that you're paying, to do the whole book in Maggie Smith's voice, the star of the movie of The Prime of Miss Jean Brodie. Imagine that. And also imagine the legal quagmire. Do you pay Maggie Smith if the AI does that? Is she owed any money? What if you want all of your Star Trek The Next Generation novels narrated by Patrick Stewart? AIs will be able to do that without fail, with no flaw. You won't be able to tell that it's not Patrick Stewart. Do you pay him? We're going to have, I'm surprised that happened yet, but it is going to happen that we're going to face those same problems. We faced it just a little bit, but we're going to face those same problems with visual CGI for actors, where you don't have to pay for the actor anymore because you can have them in the movie by getting a computer to simulate them. We already saw that in a Star Wars movie with both the young Princess Leia and also with Peter Cushing as Grand Moff Tarkin. And it was good, but you could definitely tell that it wasn't a living person. In 2 or 3 years, no, no, not at all. Then what do you do? Well, Peter Cushing's dead, so you don't have to worry about that. But Samuel Jackson is very much alive. What happens if you want his Nick Fury in a new Avengers movie? Only you don't want Samuel Jackson's almost 80. What if you want a 50-year-old Samuel Jackson as Nick Fury in some new movie? You could bring Samuel Jackson onto set, he's 30 million a pop, and then get a whole suite of people, each one of whom is making $170,000 a year, to de-age him. Or you could simply create a program and insert it amongst your living actors. Or why have living actors at all? But anyway, Aaron Penn says Penn Jillette said he loves ebooks because his favorite book is Moby Dick. He used to buy a copy while on tour and tear sections off and throw it away as he read to make it lighter. Imagine Moby Dick read by Gregory Peck. Oh, that'd be something. Uh, oh, wait here now. I'm losing. Now, keep in mind, this chat is not going to go on forever. But I do love the chats because as my channel dies, the chats seem to be getting stronger, which is really neat. That is really neat. Aaron says now he just uses his phone. Matt Sheridan says, call me a rigid traditionalist, but I prefer physical books over ebooks. I'm not going to call you a rigid traditionalist at all. I'm going to say other things. I don't think if you say that, I don't think you've given ebooks a chance. That's not the same thing as a rigid traditionalist. That's timid. Maybe a timid traditionalist, but the Spaminator is back. I love collecting used mass market paperbacks from Leisure Publishing. Pure trash most of the time, unless it's a Jack Ketchum novel. Now, Jack Ketchum didn't do it for me until he wrote Red, and then I was on board completely. I thought, oh, I love this book no matter what else you write. Deep in the Read says, I just don't have any interest or urge to try e-readers, probably just because I haven't tried them, but they seem unappealing next to physical books. I felt the same way for 20 years, and then I did try one. I gave it a legitimate try. So I wasn't going in waiting for it to fail. I was going in wanting the answer to one question. Can I completely lose myself in a book? Can I lose myself in a book so that I don't remember where I am? I'm missing subway stops, the whole 9 yards. If that is a completely intangible magic, that is the magic of reading that doesn't care about the delivery system. So my question about e-readers was, will this delivery system kill that magic? And it absolutely did not. It absolutely does not do that. So if it doesn't, that magic is all that I care about. And if that magic isn't killed by a delivery system that doesn't require lugging, that's totally convenient, that I could annotate, I could put a novel on each line and it wouldn't care at all. That it would save those annotations. It would make them easy to get. I could email them to myself so that I'm not hunting through a bookshelf for what did I say? What did I underline in this thing? And every other advantage, if the delivery system is suddenly able to do that, and I can buy one for $20 on eBay, well, and if the magic is preserved, then that's good enough for me. The Spaminator returns. I'll admit I'm loving my Kindle. That reading guy says, what is your ebook to physical book daily reading percentage on average? Well, I have a large percentage of e-reading, but it's nowhere near what it would be if not for the bulk of my reading is review copies and finished copies. And that is still that is still a whole industry where you get a review copy. And in addition to being a book reviewer and a sexy YouTube influencer, I'm also a book section editor. I'm the editor of a newspaper, print, full color, 2-page dedicated book section for a small newspaper in Georgia. I am there are all sorts of arts and letters editors in the country, but as far as editors of a dedicated book section, so it's not sharing any space with anything else, no movies, no trombone, local trombonist makes good or anything like that, but just books. There are very few dedicated book section editors in among newspapers because very few newspapers have dedicated book sections anymore. And of that small number, I am the one with very much the smallest circulation. I have the smallest section. Big Canoe News in northern Georgia has a very small circulation, but boy, oh boy, does it look good. Any of you who've subscribed to it because of me, that you get a big paper once a month, and it is beautiful to look at. Just I have an absolutely lovely book section. But those, in addition to being a reviewer, I'm also an editor, so I have to send out copies of books to people. Can't send a reviewer an e-copy of a book, especially if that's the only payment they're getting. Uh, but still, uh, there's that. But a huge and steadily growing percentage of my reading is electronic. Just the other day? Oh, okay, there's a new book. It's a new work of history from the English Civil War. It's called The Siege of Loyalty House. I think I talked about it on my channel. I got the PDF of that. I've read that PDF pretty thoroughly now and really enjoyed it. Also, there's a brand new book from I think the University of Chicago Press about pets, about pet culture a century ago. I only have that as an ebook. I think I'll probably be getting a physical copy, but the point is, a lot of my reading is still physical print and paper books because that's a large part of my job. If it weren't, then I don't think I would have any of these books here. I think I might have two bookcases, like a normal person. I'd have two bookcases worth of physical copies that have some sort of appeal to me, non-bookish appeal to me. And otherwise, I have thousands and thousands of ebooks. I have, and they're on many, many devices. They are not vulnerable to technological catastrophe. They aren't vulnerable to the whims of Amazon or Kobo or anybody else, any provider like that. Most of them are side-loaded. So, and I also have them on thumb drives and on the drive of a couple of different laptops. And there's lots to choose from. I could easily be happy reading the ebooks that I have now until the end of my life. It just, if I had some other job, if I were punching a clock and reading on my free time like a lot of booktubers do, I don't I don't think that I think the percentage would be drastically different. Declan Steiger says, "Don't recall seeing paperbacks on any Star Trek. At some point, you'll be issued a tablet slash tracking device by the state." No, well, in Star Trek, in the show, we are told famously in the original show that Samuel T. Cogley, attorney at law, loves printed books. He has scorn for computers, and we're told later on that Jim Kirk uh, uh, took on that fondness for printed books. Spock tells him in Star Trek II, "I know of your fondness for antiques." Uh, but other than that, it's data pads. This is virtually indistinguishable from the metal pads that all the people in Star Trek shows read, but they don't read on paper. That was a dictate from Gene Roddenberry himself in the original Star Trek. He said, "Look, I don't want any paper in this show. When a yeoman comes to Captain Kirk to hand him a duty roster or something to sign, I want him to be a metal plate, and I want him to have not a pen or a pencil, but some sort of stylus." That was 50 years before, you know, Apple or Amazon came up with a tablet with a stylus. That was 50 years before, and that was Roddenberry saying that I don't want paper in this world. Uh, and but in all later iterations of Star Trek, they're all aside from anachronisms. Jean-Luc Picard will have a volume of Shakespeare on display in his ready room. Captain Kirk will have a couple of books in that he references, but usually it's data pads of one kind or another. PADD. uh, let's see here. N Paris says, "Hi Steve, glad I got my dinner, but together in time to catch the stream." Well, we're not staying forever. It's not going to be a 3 hour Steve stream. I like talking to you people. And I had a subject in mind, which is, mass market paperbacks. Michael K. Vaughan did a video on them. It was great. And then Criminali at the same time did a video on the new basic Kindle. He made a point in that video that if you are looking to get an affordable new e-reader, this thing is new, so it's future proof for years. It'll be getting it's really good resolution. It's really good battery life. He made a point in that video. Other tech videos have said the same thing, which is that you really can't go wrong. You're going to get your money's worth. You'll spend $100 on it, maybe $60 if you find a sale. I'm sure that these basic blue and black entry level Kindles are available on eBay, probably for a song. But if you're looking to do it, it's not expensive to do, and this is a miracle of technology that you're getting for that money. It's nowhere near the miracle that uh, boy, nothing obeys when you want it to. So nothing. It's nowhere near the miracle of this, right? A full blown iPad. It's nothing near that, but it's still incredible. Absolutely incredible. Um, let's see here. Mad Woman in the Attic. Did you know that in the UK, library books cannot be downloaded to a Kindle? No, no. I know that I have seen Kindle reviews from UK users who have a library system where they can download books. I know I've seen that. Haven't I? Oh, I could swear that I have. Uh, uh, let's see here. Aaron is responding to Omnipotent Poop. So we'll let them hash out whatever they're dealing with. Deep in the Read says, I guess reading is one of the few times I unplug from a device, so maybe that's part of it. Electronics can be finicky, whereas you can always count on a book. Okay. I don't know how much longer I can count on this. But there's a Boston tech tuber. I don't expect any of you to watch any tech tube, but there's a Boston tech tuber, a finicky guy who's just wonderful called Mr. Mobile. That's the name of his channel. And he did a video years ago on the Amazon Kindle. I think it might have been the Oasis, the original incarnation of the Oasis. I forget which one it was, but he said something in that video. His videos are heavily scripted and heavily edited, but I believe it's true because I've felt it myself. He said that after a day of working on multiple computers, editing and streamlining his latest video production for his channel, he put all of that away. He took up his Kindle, whichever Kindle it was. He took up his Kindle, settled down, turned it on, and said out loud, "Oh, thank God." And I'm telling you, I know you won't believe it if you haven't tried it. I'm telling you, although these are technological devices, they exactly have that feeling where you turn them on and you are unplugged. You are unplugging from technology, even though it's a piece of technology. I haven't plugged this in to do anything with it in weeks. Same thing with any of these. The battery just lasts forever. Even the Kindle Oasis, which is notoriously heavy on the battery usage, lasts forever. But something about the fact that dedicated e-readers are made only to read. All of these devices have a kind of beta mode web browser, but it's hard to access and really crappy. So you're not supposed to use it. And you don't want to. Believe me, you won't want to. I don't want to. I've never done it on any of these things. And and so you really are unplugging from your devices in order to read. It's it doesn't sound believable because it is a piece of technology, but it does work. That feeling does happen. Kevin JN says, "Boy, Steve, I would love to hear Sean P. Standfast on this. I must say, once you e-read, bigger, heavier books lose appeal, especially in low light." Uh, well, I mean, Sean will disagree, right? Because he. Oh, wait, did I lose you? Uh, let's go back to where you were. I'm taking a half an hour for every comment, and that's what's slowing us down. Uh, let's go all the way. Good Lord, how many people are here? 96 people are here. There we go. Uh, Sean will disagree, but you know, Sean has he says that visually he has a problem with e-readers. Okay, that's to use the noxious parlance of 2023. That's a you problem, right? That's Sean's problem. That's not a defect of e-reading. The totally untenable, the totally unbeatable uphill battle that a print and paper purist has to fight is to tell me that I'm not a true believer when it comes to books and reading. And no one was able to do that when I was first dealing with these things in a bookstore. No one's ever been able to do that. And you aren't going to be able to do that. I'm sure you aren't even going to try. That is the hurdle that you have here. If you go down the route of, well, I guess I really care about books so much that I won't e-read, you have to look me in the face and say that I don't. And come on, even my worst enemies will anyway. I know you weren't saying that, but that is where these conversations tend to go. But I didn't mean this video to be a sales pitch for e-readers. I like the contrast between the two videos. One about mass market paperbacks that we have all loved and collected. I used to have thousands of them. I have fewer now than I've ever had when I wasn't traveling. But and the combination of that and Ollie talking about this, the new Kindle Basic. Uh, let's see here. The Spaminator. Speaking of hardbacks, I'm looking for a nice hardback copy of Moby Dick for reread. Would like a nice edition of the old Spamo shelf. Any suggestions on which one to get? Well, you could probably find on eBay, you could probably find a cheap Folio Society that's probably still in really good shape. I myself really, really like the old, was it University of California? They did a version that had Barry Moser illustrations everywhere, literally on every page. Little spot illustrations. He would illustrate a piece of whaling technology that Melville only describes, and also full page illustrations. I love that version. And also Barnes and Noble, 30 years ago, in their initial run of deluxe hardcover reprint editions, they do the whole leather bound thing now. But when they were starting, it wasn't leather bound. It was each book was going to be very different looking. And Moby Dick, I think, was the very first one that they did, with an introduction by Mark Halperin and illustrations by Mark Summers. And I love that volume. Absolutely. Good luck finding it. But I've never seen it in a used bookstore, but I love it. Let's see here. Mad Man Gone Mad, 2012. Good day, Steve. I've been enjoying A Distant Mirror. Have you read the book, The True Chronicles of Sheila? Okay. Okay. I'm assuming that's a joke. I'm assuming that's you needling me because I said that's exactly the kind of comments about A Distant Mirror that I don't want. The previously untranslated from the Savoyard idiomatic slang of the grandnephew of one Marshall. Oh, by the way, did you happen to read that? This book that 5 people have read. Let's just answer. If you have a question like that, just answer it no. Okay, just answer it no. Aaron wants to know, the Beatles paperback writer is now ebook writer. And Paris, is the reason mass market paperbacks in decline just because there's a larger profit margin on trade paperbacks / hardcovers? It could very well be. I think it might also have to do with aging eyes. As I've pointed out many times before, young people don't read. I know you read lots of surveys and lots of talk and lots of bullet point screaming pronouncements on Twitter that say otherwise, but I don't believe it. I don't believe it. The young people that I meet through friends of mine do not read. They barely know that it exists. But I could be wrong about that. It could just be that it's a profit margin. That's certainly an active factor, because something like this, this paperback from when did this particular edition come out? Of course, this has been around forever. This came out in 1984. This particular reprint of this book came out in 1984. And in 1984, this was $7. And it cost $4 to make. But another $2 for the shipping and distribution and all of that. So barely any margin at all. Jay Rosen says, I love my Kindle, but I still always reach for the physical book I'm reading first. The Kindle is more about convenience. The joy of physical book, regardless of its obvious flaws, is peerless. I used to think so. I reach only for the Kindle first now. Omnipotent Poohbar agreed. Steve is good example. For reading copies, he mostly gone digital, but as far as books as artifacts are concerned, he's curating his analog shelves. Boy, am I ever. I didn't think this library tour was going to be culling the herd, but it really has been. It really has been. Monet Doyle, I love reading paperback books everywhere. I used to bring mine everywhere. Now, what is the point? What would be the point of me? I used to go through that whole 9 yards of look at the shelf, right? I've got this paperback, I'm reading it, but I'm almost done. So I better bring another one. But what if I don't like the other one? Maybe I should, I don't have time to deliberate exhaustively. So maybe I should bring 2 or 3. I'll just stuff them in there. So if the one that I get, when I run out of the one that I have, it doesn't appeal to me, then I'll have some other choice. I don't know. I haven't had to do any of that in years. Katie Books is here. Did we get into the topic of conversation? Yes, we got into it and out of it again. I was mentioning that there were twofold topics of conversation. Mass market paperbacks. Do you have them? Do you love them? What's your extensive history with them? Michael K. Vaughan did a funny video saying goodbye to them, saying that they're going away, they're going bye-bye. And at the same time that he made that video, a Criminale made a video about the new entry-level Kindle from Amazon. And I saw the two of them together, and I've been thinking about it all day. I'm thinking about what the confluence is. Constant Books says, in French, new releases are in paperback, sold at the price of English hardbook covers because of the smaller market, and reprints are good quality mass market paperbacks. The format is still very alive. Well, if the American market had taken an approach like that, it would probably be very alive in this market too. The book market in America has alienated its own customers at literally every single turn. They've overpriced the books. They've printed them in formats that people don't want. 90% of the customers who go into a bookstore want a big, nice, generous, floppy trade paperback. They don't want a hardcover. Even if it was the same price, they wouldn't want it. 90% of them do. 90% of them wanted mass market paperbacks when the publishing industry was phasing them out. If it were done sensibly, then it would have a lot longer life in it. Matt Sheridan says, AI scares me. Yeah. There's a lot to be scary about. I watched a video today by Tom Scott, who is a futurist. I've been watching him for years. I've been watching him since he was a little boy. And when he was a boy on YouTube, he was predicting the future that we live in now. He was incredibly accurate about it. And he was incredibly comfortable about it, too. I loved watching him. He's one of the only TED Talks that I can stand because he talks rapid fire, but he lives in the future. And he did a video today about AI, about specifically Chat GPT. And in that video, for the first time ever, and probably been watching him for 10 years on YouTube, and for the first time ever in a video, he sounded scared. He was laying out what AI is, what it could be, and he was saying it will be a gigantic curve, much like the one he lived through with Napster and Spotify and that world where when he remembers when it was flat and then he remembers when it skyrocketed and he was there for it all. And in the video, he says, well, obviously AI is also on a curve. And the question is, where are we on the curve? Are we near the top? Is this about as good as much as we can see it penetrating into society? Or are we down here somewhere? And he said, if we're down here somewhere, then he's really, really scared about what might be coming. It's pretty alarming. When he says something like that, that's pretty alarming. Uh, Kevin JN, do most books initially come from big box online retailers? I notice for the most part, spinner racks and magazines are mostly a thing of the past. My grocery store has a small section. Yeah, well, the big box stores took it over. Oh, wait, here we go. We don't want to miss anybody, do we? No, we don't. Let's go back to where you were. Hit the wrong button. Let's see here. Um, Good Lord. Oh, so many people. There are 90 people here. I think it's lovely. I really do. I think it's lovely because as my channel is dying, my Steve streams are coming alive. And that's wonderful because this is as close as I'm ever going to get to having you all here to talk about these things, right? Just hash them out. What do you think? What do you think? As we all steadily get Micah Cummins or Wilson drunk. Connor, honestly, the best part about reading online is the fact that Library Genesis and the now defunct Z Library make absurdly priced ebooks affordable for normal people. I don't know what Library Genesis is or Z Library. Gagging for lit. I was thinking of Miss Brody just yesterday. LOL. That bit where she says, I will have to be assassinated to be removed from the school. I think the same thing about me and BookTube. Aaron, when AI obviates human creativity, I worry life will feel pointless. Well, the question is, what will it do? And how convincing will it be, I guess. Aaron says likeness rights exist for a reason. Yeah. Well, but should they? Do they, first of all, in any kind of binding way? No one anticipated the technology that we're seeing being born now. But also, should they exist? And to what extent? I mean, what does that mean if you say that? Does that mean that if I happen to be walking down, Rodeo Drive and I see Ariana Grande, do I owe her money? I, I, I wonder. I wonder where it all goes. Aaron, again, I think real people being reproduced by AI is pretty straightforward issue of likeness rights. I don't know about that. I don't know. I don't know about that. And how close? If we say that's true, then how close a likeness right? Don't you see sometimes an actor who reminds you of another actor? Are they owed money? What if you make an AI of I don't even know. What if you make an AI of James Earl Jones as Darth Vader, his voice, but not James Earl Jones, who unfortunately cannot live forever? Is that a likeness? What if it's close to James Earl Jones, but not quite, like a lot of the James Earl Jones stand-ins in Star Wars video games? What if it's an actor who kind of sort of looks like Chris Pratt? Chris Pratt. Not that all actors don't, they all kind of do, but you know what I mean. I don't know. I'll be interested to see it play out. Nick Piccirilli, the recent Anthony Bourdain documentary used AI to recreate his voice. I didn't know that. Geo Craftsman, was it noticeable? Geo Craftsman, AI might be a great solution to the perennial problem of stardom ruining the lives of child actors. It would also be a great solution to the problem of actors being human and therefore mortal. As I said this 6 years ago. I would give a lot for a big screen movie of the original Star Trek cast, and not as old people. An original Star Trek episode, an adventure set in the original 5-year voyage of the Starship Enterprise. I'd give a lot to see a movie like that. I don't think I'm the only one. Uh, uh, oh, good Lord, David Murphy is here. Most of the people in chat won't even know who you are. So, could we get a new John Wayne movie? Is what you're saying? that was the original context. You'd think that the original context of my speculation along these lines on my blog, Steve Reads, 15 years ago, you'd think the original speculation would have been the original cast of Star Trek, but it wasn't. It was John Wayne. It was John Wayne. It was a new John Wayne movie that need not even be a western, or that could be a western set in outer space. Imagine it. Imagine all the actors doing their best thing, right? All of these stupid, overstraining, shrill, ridiculous, sexless girl bosses in every single Hollywood vetted movie. Imagine if you see a scene that is clearly setting you up for the reveal of such a character. And then we get the reveal, and it's a 35-year-old Rosalind Russell, a 35-year-old Katharine Hepburn. I mean, imagine that. Imagine if well, you know what I'm saying. Imagine if we could get that. Imagine if you could vary it. Not only the dead actor or actress, but any age of them. We have the material to feed into an AI right now, both a voice simulating AI and a visual simulating AI. They're already advanced enough to simulate those people. You could make an original Star Trek cast movie, and you'd be hard pressed to tell the difference. Anyway, deep in the reads, I'm a professional artist and fine with AI content theoretically. But at the moment, lots of AI art just pulls other artists' work from Google and amalgamates it, sometimes barely. Yes, that thing that went around Instagram, generating these fake heroic avatars of all the dude bros who can't stop posting pictures of themselves. It was pointed out by many, many artists that look, AI is taking stuff that you give it. It has no idea what exists in the world, and it can't produce anything on its own except if it's programmed to do that. Most of it isn't. Most of it is programmed to steal. I'm going to take the ingredients. I'm not going to make them. I'm going to take the ingredients and mix them up. And if you are the person who originated one of those ingredients, you are being ripped off by that. Rena is reading. Is your channel dying? I thought you've been maintaining. No, 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 no. My subscriber count has been going down. Notice. I don't. I mean, you all know I don't really care about it, but I can't help but notice it because every time I go to Google Studio to upload a video, it's the first thing I see. It's been going down steadily, and I mean steeply. What 2 weeks ago, a lot of you were talking about how we were getting closer and closer and closer to 14K on this channel. And now we are very much getting closer to 13K. It's just going straight down in that direction. I've heard other YouTubers say that YouTube has been implementing a new process to weed out bots. And I used to mention on this channel, in fact, I used to complain about it sometimes, that every time I uploaded a video, every single time, every video, which for me is a lot, that's 5 videos a day. Every single time I uploaded a video, it would immediately get sex bots that I had to report to YouTube and delete and flag. I had to do that for every video, sometimes multiple times. I believe the friend of mine who told me that because those things are gone. I don't deal with those. They never show up in videos anymore. So if it's true that I know that it's true because my friend said that's what this is. All YouTubers are seeing it. It's causing a stall in the growth of most channels because the bots are being weeded out. And I believe that my friend is right because the bots on my channel are gone. And if a drastically lower subscriber count reflects the fact that those were bots, then I want them gone. I have this. And this channel should never have been any bigger than 500 subscribers at the most. And you all know that. I've been saying that for years. So, but I get some fun. I get some fun out of the melodrama of saying that this channel is dying. That's a lot of fun to do. I don't know how you people put up with me. I really don't. The Absolutist. Are you excited for the new Indiana Jones movie? What do you think? What do you think? No, I am not excited for the new Indiana Jones movie. No. It's a sacrilege. It's meant to be a sacrilege. It is what is called in the industry now fan baiting. And whole business models of entire multi-million dollar movies are now based on fan baiting, which is let's do something we know the dedicated fans of this franchise will hate. Let's sculpt the script, the lines, the acting, everything. Let's sculpt it all. Let's have meetings where we sit around a table, snicker, and say, what will they hate? That's what we'll do. Counting on fan baiting, generating you huge amounts of conversation and maybe helping you in the long, maybe helping the bottom line of the movie in the long run. And Indiana Jones is a perfect example of that. What the heads of Disney want to do is erase the legacy of all previous directors, especially male directors, only male directors. And this movie is literally going to erase the character of Indiana Jones, played by Harrison Ford. It's going to erase and replace that character. I don't know that for sure, but that was the like 6 or 7 alternate endings were filmed for this movie, and that was the one that I think got the go ahead to erase Indiana Jones from his own continuity and replace him with a woman. So no, I'm not looking forward to it. No, not at all. And besides, it's deeply, deeply insulting to Harrison Ford's dignity. A 90-year-old man cavorting around and punching people and whatnot. I don't know why he took the role. But anyway, Jenny Parks, I love the dictionary feature on the Kindle. Learned a new word today thanks to it. Yes, I have a young friend who has a Kindle. I actually gave her a Kindle, and she loves it, absolutely loves it. And she told me a story, and I'm sure that it's echoed by thousands of people all over the country. I cracked up, and she cracked up too. She said that she was at school, she was in her classroom, and they were all following along in a textbook. And at one point in the textbook, she saw a word that she didn't know, and she long pressed on the paper. And of course, nothing happened because the Kindle will help you. You're not alone. It's made to help you. With a printed book, you're on your own. It's a static piece of technology. If you can't get the page to turn, you're stuck. If the pages are stuck together, you're stuck. If you read a word that you don't understand, you're stuck. You have to go to another source to find out what it is. If you don't understand a historical allusion, you are stuck. You have to go on somewhere else. You can't ask the book for help. The book has been made and it cannot change. Whereas your electronic e-readers can. They're there to help you. I thought that was kind of funny. I'm sure that students do that all the time. Uh, let's see here. Wilson Shugart, thoughts on Tolstoy. I just mentioned you as someone as a young ingenue that we would all get drunk if you all came over here for wine and calzones, but this is the closest that we get. Matt Sheridan says, I've tried ebooks and they just do it for me. Well, you must mean don't do it for you. Wasn't that your earlier point? That you must mean that. I just got my hardcover for Master of the Senate, and I'm just euphoric. Oh my god, it's so big. It's so big. I'm coming up on a reread of that whole series, but I'm going to do it electronically. I have them all on ebooks. I'm not going to bother with a 10-pound book. That reading guy says, speaking of influences, Princeton UP is coming out with a book this week called The Influencer Industry: Quest for Authenticity on Social Media. Did you get a copy and will you be reviewing it? I did get a copy. I read it. I will be reviewing it. I won't be praising it, but I will be reviewing it. I really don't. Influencers are enormously popular, as I've mentioned, when it comes to Jake and Logan Paul. The author of the book, Influencer Industry, Logan Paul could ruin that author's life legally easily. He could do it tomorrow. Make his life utterly unlivable easily. And there would be no escape for the author of that book. If he tried to move to another town, Logan Paul, a rounding error in his monthly finances could allow him to move him and his entire crew, his entire Low gang and their entire compound to the house next door to wherever you move. Let's say the author of that book finds that happen again. So late night noise complaints all around the clock, neighborhood dogs being killed or set on fire or turned into firecrackers or whatever. Let's say the author decides, all right, well, enough is enough. I've just got barely enough money left in my personal savings. I will move overseas. I will allow Logan Paul to drive me out of my home country. Logan Paul could move there. He could follow you all over the world and ruin your life until you die. And nothing like that. The thing I don't understand, what I'm trying to say, the thing I don't understand about books like this is why not learn your subject before you talk about it? This is not for dilettantes. This is really important. Um, well, anyway, Blue Laser Ryan, the 6.8-inch Kindle Paperwhite is near perfect. If that existed 10 years ago, I would not have spent so much physical books. Past Kindles have way too many flaws for me to convert. Yeah, past Kindles were a little clunky, and the 6.8 Kindle White I think you're referring to is not the current one, but the model that was a slightly smaller. I think that's the one you're talking about, and if so, You're right. It is near perfect. I've called it the platonic ideal of e-readers. I'm not using mine at the moment because I'm using this, and I'm not 100% sure uh, that that isn't just because it's blue. And also, I've been recently retinkering with this, and again, I'm not 100% sure that the reason is because this is the most Star Trek looking device that Kindle makes. I don't know one way or another. The Absolutist. I recently read the first volume of Freeman's Lee's Lieutenants. It was great. Yes, it is. It's a great book. Doesn't matter that it really leans to the South. It's still a great narrative. I'm not expecting here in this chat where we are free from the stupid world of Twitter politics. You can like a book like Freeman's Lee's Lieutenants without anyone saying, "Oh, so you like slaves then, huh?" I don't know how the rest of us deal with it. You have all spoiled me for the internet. When I encounter that kind of stuff, which is absolutely everywhere outside of these chats, I just have no patience whatsoever. I lash out right away because you've all spoiled me. Um, but anyway, you had an actual question, right? Have you ever read his 4 volume book on Lee? I have. And the same thing, the same reason you love Lee's Lieutenant is the reason you will love the Lee book because the way he writes, it's just amazing. It's exactly what I talk about with A Distant Mirror. It is not taking your attention for granted at all. You're going to have to put up with the same kind of thing. It's clear that he is sympathetic to the South. And in 2023, in Twitter discourse, that means that you yourself not only like slave owning, but actually own 1860 slaves. And good luck telling someone on Twitter that they'd be dead of old age by now, and that you obviously don't own slaves, and that you can like a book without liking slaves. Good luck avoiding the Gone with the Wind debate saying this, but at least privately we can admit, yeah, that he is great. He is fantastic. Imagine how good you would have to be for me to like a multi-volume biography of Robert E. Lee, a figure I consider utterly iniquitous, and not because he owned slaves. That's down on the list. But anyway, uh, Matt Sheridan, for Steve's Sunday sermon, could you please cover the book of Exodus at all? I don't do Sunday sermons at all. We read a psalm. That's all. You get enough sermons from me as it is. The Spaminator, I'm enjoying ebooks, but I still look for physical copies of everything I really like. There's no question of ownership with physical books. They are mine. Well, so are side-loaded e-files, right? They're yours as well. They don't belong to anyone. So your device might fail, but if you've got 14 gigs of ebook files on your computer and you can just send them to whatever device you want, those are yours as well. Aaron is answering Wilson Shugart. I'm sure Steve has videos that would answer your question. Connor, not on Tolstoy, I don't. Connor, my grandmother has a Kindle Paperwhite and reads exclusively romance novels. I download the books online and send them remotely. She's given up on physical books after 60 years. That dovetails not only with Ollie's video, but also with a comment that I saw on Twitter, of all places, where someone said she posted a picture on Twitter of her husband's Library of America collection. Had hundreds of volumes in the Library of America, all in the subscription, so the slipcase boxes, and he's donating them to the local library. He reads almost exclusively on his Kindle, and she said we did not see that change coming. I've heard that from so many people, and it's true. It's absolutely true. If your grandmother wants more romance EPUB files, feel free to email me. I probably have some she hasn't read. J. Scott Phillips is here. Another weekday live stream. It's not too easy to keep my colicky clients at bay, but I'm trying. An easy way to keep your colicky clients at bay would be to explain to them that it's me. That ought to do it, right? That reading guy, how did you get so many ebooks side-loaded onto your e-readers? Well, you can either send it, your ebook, your Kindle has a dedicated email. So you can either send it that way, uh, or you can sideload it. You can connect your Kindle to your laptop and just move them over. Then a little icon will appear on the desktop and you just move them over. That reading guy says, and how do you get original covers? I have a couple of people who are willing to make original covers for me. Very, very nice of them to do. Laverne Hodge, I'm a senior and my vision isn't what it used to be. The print in mass markets is almost impossible for me to see. Without my e-reader, I would miss so many wonderful stories. Yes, a lot of people, a lot of original customers back when I sold e-readers in a bookstore, a lot of my customers said, if it weren't for this device, I can't read half the books that are in my collection now. They're physically barred from me. And now they aren't. Now I can, again, this device will help you. It will define any word that you want. It will look up any illusion that you're not sure of, and it will change the page size, the font size, the type font, everything. It's made to help you. Um, J. Scott Phillips, as far as paperbacks in Star Trek, we saw mass markets of Moby Dick and others on Khan's bookshelf on the Botany Bay in the Wrath of Khan. Yes, yes, that was. It wasn't just anything. It was the old Signet mass market paperback of Moby Dick, and it was hilarious. It was absolutely hilarious. I remember when I was watching that movie in the theater, thinking, "Oh, come on, they won't have that. Not only will they not have paperbacks in the 23rd century, but I own a copy of that Moby Dick. There's no way it will exist in 300 years. There's no way that it will. But they wanted something that was really visible on the spine, and a tablet wouldn't do it because that has to foreshadow a whole lot in that. It has to work. That does a lot of work in that movie, and so it, I'll allow it for a license. J. Scott Phillips again. Of course, he was from the 1990s before e-readers came out. Blue Laser Ryan is responding to that reader guy. Declan Steiger says, Steve, I don't want to sidetrack the discussion, but what's your take on all the UFO activity? Size of small car, 40,000 feet altitude. Yeah, I've seen it all. We've had lots and lots of UFO activity for lots and lots of years. UFO does not mean extraterrestrial. It means unidentified. And everybody's working on drone technology, on drone oversight, on drone aerial footage. That does not mean an extraterrestrial. Extraterrestrials do not travel for well 70 years in order to go incognito and anal probe cows. They don't do that. So Yuri Not Ure says, hello Steve, you again. Kindle is fantastic, also because it gives immediate access to the biggest bookstore, plus rental books with Prime, and a lot of free books no matter where I am in the world. Yes. I forgot to mention, I've said all through this video that this thing helps you. This device helps you. A book does not help you. A book does not know you were there. It's not interactive with you in any way except in the magic way of getting inside your brain. But as a physical object, it doesn't do anything for you. So if you don't understand a word, you need to go somewhere else to explain it, unless it's footnoted. If you don't understand a historical illusion or a literary illusion, you have to go somewhere else to get it and hope that you can find it and then come back to your book. If you can't read the size of the print, you're out of luck. Print's not going to change. You can change all of that on this device. I forgot also to mention that a lot of these devices, pretty much everyone that I have here, also will give you a reading light. It will also light the page for you in many different temperatures. Let's see here. Connor says, Steve, can't wait until you start your new tech channel, Mr. Immobile. Mr. Mobile does zip all around Boston. I do that too, but I don't do it in order to film at all. Gagging for Lit says, been told we don't have that physical copy, but we have an e-reader version by my local UK library. So I think some of them do. Either way, I look at the librarian with scorn when they tell me that. Mad Woman in the Attic, nope. UK library loans are not compatible to Kindle e-readers. You can to a Kindle Fire, but not to an actual Kindle. Okay, what about Kobo devices? What about a Kobo device? Is it Rakuten Kobo? Are they compatible with those? I mean, if UK library loans have e-readers, they must be compatible. If they have e-books, they must be compatible with something, or they wouldn't have them at all in their system, right? Aaron, I don't think the Kindle is great for annotation because typing on e-ink screens sucks. Well, yes, it's not as convenient as jotting your thoughts, but exactly how much jotting am I going to do here, right? It's a trade-off. Right? Yes, typing on an e-reader screen isn't all that good, but it's also infinite. If I want to write a chapter of fan fiction about an item in that chapter, I can do it all in one comment box. You can to Kindle. Oh no, wait. I hope the next generation of the Scribe will be the answer to that problem. Yeah, I was briefly tempted by the Scribe. Then I thought exactly what you're hinting at here. I've made that mistake so many times of getting first gen stuff. I'm not in all that much of a hurry, and every time I've got first gen stuff, it's been so buggy. Even bugs that nobody anticipated that you have to work out with 1,000 people using it. No, no, no. Thanks very much. I'll wait. I'll get a second or third generation Kindle Scribe just to see if I like it better. But I think it's too big. Honestly, I think I would only use it for reading. I would never use a stylus for annotating an ebook because then I'm right back. I'm eliminating the convenience. The convenience here is that I don't need anything. I've just got the device at my finger. Uh, and novella, do people really hear a thing while they are reading? I'm so immersed in a book, nothing can get me out of my focus. Oh, I don't, but plenty of people do. Monet Doyle, I can read paperback books anywhere, including reading in Lowe's. Uh, yeah, almost. You can't read paperback books in the dark, I think, would be the point that a Kindle salesman would make, was that you can't read them in the dark. They don't come with their own light. But they are mighty durable, mighty accessible, mighty adaptable pieces of technology. Mad Woman in the Attic says library loans have to be read on an app like Libby or BorrowBox. Okay, so an iPad would work, or your phone. Um, Blue Laser Eye, I need to make dinner, but I want to watch the stream. The struggle is real. I don't see the struggle. Are you prioritizing food over me? Is that what you're saying? What kind of a parasocial relationship is this anyway? Besides, this stream is so interesting. Look at all the topics we've talked on. YouTube straining out bots from its population, all kinds of e-readers, mass market paperbacks, even the spaminators chipped in now and again. That reading guy, I'm relatively young and I act under the assumption that all of my generation does not read. I occasionally get surprised, but not often. I think that the reality of it on the ground would be shocking to most people, especially most people in the orbit of BookTube, either watching and making videos. I think it would shock a lot of people, not just young people, but people just in general in the world, how little they read, how little they even think about it. You only have to, like I mentioned in the last Stevestream, you only have to look at a design magazine, a home magazine of any kind. It doesn't have to be high end. It can be anything. There are no books anywhere, ever, in any of those pictures. uh, let's see here. Dylan M. I've come late, so I'm not sure if this is the topic, but are we discussing paperback books? I love them. They're my preferred reading format, but they're too expensive to justify in price these days. Well, I was talking about both things. Michael K. Vaughan did a video about mass market paperbacks and how they are slowly being phased out of the world. And at the same time, Criminali uploaded a video about the new basic Kindle. His is black, but we have the same model, and how great it is. And I thought about those two things together because a lot of you and me, we're all experimenting with e-readers, but at the same time, a lot of you and me absolutely have loved mass market paperbacks. We've absolutely loved them in our lives. So the two videos seem to me to go together. J. Scott Phillips, I've made a quantum jump to more e-reading now with my all-new little 6-inch Kindle. However, it still does not have the warmth of a physical paper book. Well, no, okay, well, but okay, it doesn't have the warmth of a physical paper book, and a physical paper book doesn't have the sleekness of an e-reader. It's simply a trade-off. I mean, at a certain point, you have to say, well, part of the reason, I guess maybe I'm a traditionalist, but I don't know, call me crazy or old-fashioned, but I like this orange. I just don't think it has enough apple in it. It's just at a certain point, you're anyway. Declan Steiger says, Steve, I can imagine Penguin offering a subscription model that would allow access to any Black Spine classic, old or new edition, removing the middleman of retail or Amazon. You mean for ebooks? I assume you mean for ebooks. Yeah, I don't know why publishers wouldn't. They don't need Amazon is just a distribution node. Although it's more than that because there's a lot of original content on Amazon that I am hooked on. Whole authors that I am now following. I now read what they write, and they're on Amazon only. So Amazon knows what they're doing, definitely. Aaron, I wanted to ask in an earlier stream. Oh no. Well, if you wanted to ask something in an earlier stream, I'm not going to let it go away. Where did it go? Here, let's find you. Let's find you. Well, there are 101 people here, so finding you is going to take just a bit of time. Hold on here. I'll find you. Uh, we're just going to. I wanted to ask in an earlier stream, Steve, do you think Thomas C. Foster's How to Read Literature / Novel / Poetry Like a Professor are any good? Points of agreement, disagreement. Mostly disagreement, as you would expect, right? Mostly disagreement. They're intensely condescending books. Geo Craftsman, speaking of paperbacks, what exactly is so great about French flaps and deckled edges? I just love them. I think if you combine French flaps, decal edges, and a floppy binding, and I am on board. I'm absolutely that is an aesthetic experience that an ebook cannot provide. If all books were available in trade paperbacks with lovely covers and floppy spines and decal edges and French flaps, well, I'd do a lot of reading in that format. But they aren't. They aren't. That reading guy, AI is our generation's Frankenstein's monster. We shall see. We shall see. Deep in the reads, totally agree on the state of new physical ebooks, new physical books. Every new book seems to be an Instagram friendly, overpriced hardcover special edition. Used bookstores have all vanished in my area. Oh, God. That's terrible to hear. That reading guy, Steve, if you started posting videos of yourself at the gym, your channel probably wouldn't be dying. Get with the times. I am okay with my channel dying, very much so. I'm very much okay with it. I have all of you. I am in lots of Voxer and email and contact with all kinds of people. I've met all kinds of people. You all know that you're welcome here. Physically, make it if you come to Boston, I'll want you to spend an evening here so I can get you drunk and take advantage of you. Well, I have all that stuff. I have all the stuff, all the truly worthwhile stuff. And let's be honest, the subscriber count on my channel has always been weird. I flood the zone with videos. That's YouTube argues against that. You're not supposed to do that. I mostly amuse myself with in jokes and quotes from a million different Broadway shows and TV shows and movies and books. I don't go to the gym, so that's not an issue. The Spaminator, as long as the human race moves toward increased laziness and valuing convenience over all else, AI will continue to move forward. All right, doomsaying comment. Monet Doyle, floppy paperback books are wonderful. I agree. They are wonderful. Jaden Sage, love your videos. Well, isn't that nice of you? You're just about the only one at this point. Stephen Gentry, I think it was Scientific American that recently ran a series of articles on the possibilities of AI. One of them discussed the possibility of creating AI copies of ourselves. It's an old science fiction idea. Create a digital version of yourself to upload in case of death. Many science fiction stories that I've read have been about that, had that premise. Uh, it's I think long before it hits identity, it's going to hit authorship, and I wonder what that's going to be like. Uh, Jonathan Noel says, "Hi, Steve. People get too worked up over AI. It's the bug-eyed salamanders in Silicon Valley that scare me." Stephen Gentry, we could then instruct it to read every book in the world and then report back which ones we like. Well, I think the worry is that you could instruct it to read every Patricia Cornwell novel and then write the next one. And the publisher has the rights to the next Patricia Cornwell novel. They already have a contract, but nowhere in the contract does it stipulate that she has to write it. And no one thought to write that into the contract. Uh, anyway, anyway, or a publisher could bring out a line of forensic police procedurals and bill them heavily, advertise them as the next Patricia Cornwell, the new Case Carpetta, with no author involved. Allegedly competing against their own author, but what's the worst that could happen? Patricia Cornwell goes to her publisher and says, "How dare you? I'm leaving." Well, they want her to go, so they can make just as much money without her, without anyone, without a human in that place. Uh, let's see here. Aaron, slightly off topic. The new Eddie Murphy movie ends with a kiss between Jonah Hill and the female lead. The kiss was CGI, probably for a number of reasons, I think. CDN Chaz Chaos with a Z. Paperbacks in Asia are delightful. Compact, nice thin paper, great design. Massive North American hardcovers just wouldn't fit the commute reading style there. I've seen a lot of Asian paperbacks and they are wonderful. But again, it's an example of something that I've been railing against for 30, 40 years, which is how much the American book market works against its own self-interest enormously, systematically. The books are uncomfortable, they are unsightly, they are inconvenient, they are overpriced. I, it's not like the American book publishing industry hasn't had people who know what they're talking about telling it what it's doing wrong for years. It doesn't care. Doesn't care. In the early 1980s, it started incorporating, it started running itself like a big business, started being bought by big businesses. And then it's all about the C-suite, it's all about the annual payouts, it's all about retreats. And it doesn't work that way. The book market doesn't work that way. There are plenty of us in the late 80s and early 90s saying, you can run it that way for a while, but you're gonna alienate your audience. And when a better mousetrap comes along, you'll have no one to blame but yourself. And I heard from executives in the mid 1990s that there isn't any better book. A book is a perfect device. You said so yourself. I didn't anticipate ebooks or e-readers at all. All I'm saying is the destruction of the American book market couldn't happen to a nicer industry. Uh, let's see here. Deep in the reads, I like how you being far behind on the chat gives this whole stream an Ouroboros, the worm Ouroboros effect. Since we keep commenting on older comments, am I far behind? Let's go faster. Matt Sheridan. I remember when Roger Ebert lost his ability to speak and then he provided him with a computer voice box that sounded like his original voice. Declan Steiger. I think James Earl Jones has participated in Disney's plans recording him to teach AI recreation. Wouldn't surprise me. Blue Laser Ryan. Dinner is calling. Might be back. Either way, 105 viewers on the stream right now. Wow. I agree. Wow. Absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. We're not staying. You can go to supper. This stream is not going on forever. We are going to wrap this up. I just wanted to bring up the subject, and I've had a great discussion. This has been wonderful. But we're going to hurry on. We're going to try and catch up with the chat. Taylor Brock, I would like to see Christopher Reeve do Superman again. I saw a YouTuber use AI. The real actor's voice was and face shape was a perfect match. I would like certainly old actors to return as Superman, but not Christopher Reeve. I know he's a saint now, so you can't dislike him, but I have a favorite Superman, and he looked like a man, not a young woman right on the verge of being married. I don't want my Superman to be beautiful. And so it wouldn't be Christopher Reeves, it would be George Reeves. He would be the Superman that I would want. But anyway, I'm not going to comment. I'm going to catch up with the chat. Connor, I think AI actors would be disappointing only because the directors who encourage terrible modern acting will be the ones controlling the AI. Unfortunately, John Wayne won't be there to argue. Why would they be the ones controlling? Who says AI is restricted to actors? Why would you need it? Why would you need a high-profile director who's costing you $100 million to direct a movie? Now, if the actors can go, the directors can go. Anyway, that reading guy, could we get an AI Steve? I would watch an hour-long AI Steve. How do you know this isn't an AI Steve? That reading guy, but would it be a whole Steve AI? Jenny Parks is answering Taylor Brock, so I can quickly ignore it. James Rucala, will you have a Q&A every time you lose 100 subscribers? No, you people all said Q&A at 14K. I don't believe this channel is going to reach 14K. I think I'll reach 13K before I reach 14K. But we said 14K. If this channel ever reaches that, we'll do a Q&A. Jonathan Noel, but when are you launching your OnlyFans? Well, I have a Patreon and everybody ignores it. I imagine it would be the same thing with OnlyFans. CDN Chaos with a Z. There's a Star Trek game voiced by Kelly Nimoy Shatner in the 90s. It was written by DC Fontana. It was never completed. Hopefully it will be released with deep fakes and AI eventually. Aaron, fan baiting. I can't believe anyone who thinks of themselves as a creative would produce work for order for such a system, but they do. They do. The new Indiana Jones is pure fan baiting. And I'm saying it was conceived that way in the boardroom. That was not a direction of some super woke director. It was conceived that way. This is why we're going to make this movie. But anyway, Matt Sheridan, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was so mind-numbingly awful. I can't imagine why anyone would be excited for the new indie. Jenny Parks, how do you feel about Sean D. Stanfast outing you for stealing his marbled physique? What can I say? I find him irresistible. Connor, how do you feel about your favorite Batman returning in The Flash? I don't understand. Let's just say diplomatically, I don't understand anything about that movie. I do not understand why it's being made, why it's being pushed, why it's being preserved against all odds. I do not know what's going on behind the scenes. I've asked. Something is going on behind the scenes. Something is protecting Ezra Miller. And I don't know what it is. I have no idea. Deep in the reads, you're going to do a reread of Caro's biographies on LBJ. Please make videos following that. I'd really like to start on them, but I'm a bit intimidated. We shouldn't be intimidated. Caro's really good. But I don't know a whole lot there. There's a lot of stuff there. I'm not sure that anyone would want to watch that except you. Deep in the reads, although I'm just about to finish Taylor Branch's 3-part biography of Martin Luther King. So I guess it's not much different. No, it's not. You're perfectly able. What is this business of being intimidated by books? We've got to. If I'm over it, the rest of you have to get over it. Let's see here. Aaron says just got in the mail a used paperback of Elroy and Penzler's The Best American Noir of the Century. It's still cold from being outside. Can't wait to dig in. Fit to be read. Thoughts on an expected Green Lantern series? Yeah. uh, I don't know what we're supposed to do. I don't know what. I'm hoping that it is at least marginally faithful to the source material. Now, that obviously means it will be John Stewart instead of Hal Jordan. Uh, I'm hoping that John Stewart is a great character. He's a great Green Lantern. Maybe that. I don't know what to expect from him. I don't have any hopes for these sorts of things anymore. I expect that I'm just going to get woke scolded the whole time. Uh, that reading guy, we should hashtag cancel Steve in his own chat for being an elitist. You know that I'm not. That calls back that whole debacle last summer. The thing that bothered me most of all, even more than being betrayed by a friend, the thing that bothered me most of all was being called an elitist. When the dust settled and it was way in the rearview mirror, I looked back on it and thought that is what bothered you the most. Because of all things and of all people, even my worst enemies. Anyway, El Castillo, how did Ezra Miller survive from being canceled? That's what I want to know. Something very powerful is protecting this kid. And I'd love to know the story behind it. There has to be a story behind it. This is not QAnon. This is it, this is a perfect instance where in any other circumstance the studio would have dropped this star like a hot rock in 10 seconds. It would have happened 2 years ago. And instead, instead, they're willing to cancel everything else in their slate for the next 5 years except Ezra Miller products. There has to be something going on there. The Spaminator, sorry if I'm dipping in and out of the chat, working with new evil plot to replace the world supply of M&Ms with candy-coated Viagra. Hit a roadblock. Security at Viagra headquarters is pretty stiff. Jenny Parks, you mean I can't get that Two Towers cover? Shame, it looks wonderfully accurate. Oh, you mean this Two Towers cover? That's Baradur and Orthanc. Two different covers there. Afraid it's not commercially available, no. Let's see here. Monet Doyle, I bought a Nook from Barnes & Noble a while ago. It didn't work long, and I went back to paperback books. I have a couple of Nooks. They don't have enough storage. They work just fine. They're good, sturdy little rubber devices, but they don't have enough storage. J. Scott Phillips, I just explained to a colicky client that I was watching your live stream. You were right. She apologized, saying she didn't know you had a live stream today. I'm telling you, it will work every time. Aaron, extraterrestrials do, however, travel millions of light years and anally probe Cartman because he deserves it. I agree. I agree. Oh, wait, I lost it. Oh, boy. You people weren't kidding. I am way behind on the chat. Here, let's go even faster. Sergeant Earache probably wouldn't be little green men anyway. It'll be AI, von Neumann probes, that sort of thing. Not biological. No, you're right. Would be gray sludge, if anything. Mad Woman in the Attic. Kobo isn't available in the UK. Kobo is available in the UK. Kobo is from the UK. Kobo is the two devices that I have came from Canada. HS Christina, do you ever listen to audiobooks? No, I don't. Declan Steiger, glad to catch this live. Thanks, Steve. You're up. Samuel Amsterdam, do you have some any read along projects for the future? Lots of them. Danielle, the Bluegrass Reader. Hi, Steve, and hi, Frida. Samuel Amsterdam, sorry for the grammatical error. I get nervous around you, Steve. Well, I don't care about the grammatical errors, as you know, and you shouldn't be nervous around me. I would put my pants on one leg at a time like everyone else if I wore them. Aaron, no one reading. When I self-pubbed erotica, some authors and I published an anthology clearly marked as short stories, and one of the one-star reviews was for it not being a book of 10 novels. Fit to be read. With AI, I feel like we are at the similar type of moment to where we were with IRC, pre-Netscape, internet browsers, etc. Well, I was mentioning Tom Scott, the YouTuber Tom Scott, who is a futurist. He's a technological presenter, a technological explainer. He's a wonderful kid. I guess he's not a kid anymore. I've been watching him his whole adult life on YouTube. And just today, he made a video about AI asking this question: where are we in the curve of AI? Can't recommend it strongly enough to find him and watch that video. Alexis Curie, we are nowhere near AI. If you ever meet true AI, you will know. The hair will stand up on the back of your neck. You're not You're not right about us being nowhere near it. That's not true at all. I guarantee you in the last week, you have interacted with AI and not known it. Fit to be read. Oh Lord, I don't know what that refers to. Alex Carey, William Butler Yeats wrote a poem about AI in 1919. It's called The Second Coming. Nice, but no. Fit to be read. My Ladies Hydrangea Club. Was that some sort of flower? Was 105 members, and we just let out. I told everyone to come here to the stream. I'm not saying I should get credit, but I kind of. Yeah, hello from India. It's 5 a.m. here. Finally caught you live. Oh, India, cool. Every once in a while, there's somebody from India in the stream. I loved living in your country so much. I loved it so much. Oh, I loved it. I went everywhere. I loved it so much. Such wonderful, warm people. Oh, uh, hello to India. The Spaminator, you mentioned new American books being unsightly. That's my biggest gripe. They all look like the same graphic design, cover art that conveys absolutely nothing about the tone or nature of the book. Yes. uh, Kevin JN, what do you think of comics on the readers? Don't you think if Amazon embraces colored ink, it will make their products so much better? I read all of my electronic comics on this iPad. It's the bigger screen, it's pinchable artwork, it's bright color. I would never do it on an e-reader. And this iPad still uses the old app Chunky, which is used for comic reading, isn't made anymore. And I really like it. I just like the ergonomics of it. So I read all my comics on that. And I don't know if you're going to be able to make this out. Uh, let's Since I'm way behind on the chat anyway. Uh, it's Can you make that out? It's a lot of comics. It's a lot of comics. It's just page after page after page, and every one of those files has 500 comics in it. So it's a lot of comics. I do it only on this machine, which always bugs me because I don't like anything. I don't like to do any one function on only one machine because then it's completely vulnerable. But the Chunky app works really well on that. The other apps, I haven't found a good comic reader for them. Uh, let's see, but I'm taking too long. Declan Steyer, manga sells like crazy in Asia and South America, taking market share in the U.S. physical paperback novels may be going out of style here, but not elsewhere. Francisco Leal Gonzalez says, "Hey Steve, I think soon there will be a complete novels written using AI. Any thoughts about it?" I'm 100% sure it's happened already. 100% sure. In the last 2 years, when I have read a new standard product, like a new Robert Parker novel, the latest Daniel Steele, and I have instinctively thought it reads like they gave it to a younger relative. Doesn't read like the author at all. Something wrong. I realize now that when I was thinking I gave this to my young niece who wants to break into publishing or whatever, what I should have been thinking is AI. That this was written by AI and maybe touched up here and there by the author. That has almost certainly happened. Uh, let's see here. Technical farce, dear Steve. I'm wondering what you think of Kate Chopin. Yes, that's the kind of thing that I'm talking about. That is not a chat question. Renee Wish, thanks, Steve, for an informed chat. Love this channel. Why, thank you. Oh, no, did I miss? I did. Oh my God, Aaron. I don't doubt you on fan baiting. It's obvious when they're doing it. It's just flabbergasting. If I'm right about the ending they went with for this new Indiana Jones movie, it will be the apotheosis of fan baiting. Imagine telling the fans of Indiana Jones your character never existed. So it's not a question of Han and Luke and Leia existed. We're going to debase the men. We're going to make them feckless, gormless morons, and we're going to kill them pointlessly in front of you. It's not that. It's them saying they never existed at all. It was a woman all along. If they went with that ending, then it is the ultimate in fan baiting. Alexis Curie, that reading guy, I have to tell you my theory on why I believe Steve is part of the clone family. Aaron, have you read the article on Airmail about Armie Hammer? His story would make great post Me Too Oscar bait. Complicated, no easy villain / victim. I haven't read the article. No. But I have to think if it's an Armie Hammer story, I have to think there is an easy villain, and it's him. Sarah Donahue, any plans to reread Brendan Behan given the centenary of his birth? Not a single one. Monet Doyle, have you read Make It Sweet by Kristen Callahan? I have not. Aaron, read along of Gene Wolfe's Fifth Head of Cerberus. I love to dig into his work with you as a guide and companion. I don't have any plans to do it, but you do have Liam's Lyceum. He is reading through that. Deep in the reads, today I learned Steve doesn't know how to pronounce hydrangea. Glad to know he's not an AI. Well, I got it the second time, didn't I? Didn't I just do it right? Declan Steiger, Steve, did you get a copy of Unscripted, book about CBS and Redstone family shenanigans? I saw it. I don't think I've received a copy of it, not even an e-copy. Should I? Have you got an e-copy of it? Maybe I should have a copy of it. Oh, no, I haven't. I've been talking with on and off all day with publicists about other books, including a huge work of German history that I really enjoyed. But I am at the end of the chat. You people said it couldn't be done. Alexis Geary, and what rough beast this come round at last slouches towards Bethlehem to be born. Yes, yes, I know. Nevertheless, it's not about AI. Okay, and you know it, and you know it. Perfect indication that you are doing uh, Twitter style hot takes is if the poet himself would punch you if he were alive and heard you do it. And then you know you're wrong. Aaron says, no, you're not. What does that mean? I'm not pronouncing this? All right. Hydrangea? Is that right? How many different variations can there be? It's got to be one of those first two syllables. It can't be hydrangea. Is it hydrangea? I'm not a gardener. Declan Steiger, and I can't press on the screen to have the computer tell me how to pronounce it. Declan Steiger saying goodnight. Ravens fans 1961. We're going to go to 10 past the hour as always. But I'm not going to let the chat get away from me again. Hello, Steve. I thought I read the worst book in 2023 when I finished Spare. But then I read Mike Pompeo. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. They're horrible for different reasons, but they are unbelievably horrible books. Just what an awful, evil, knowingly vicious guy Mike Pompeo is. Just, I mean, Prince Harry, I can see might be just the unwitting dupe of his wife, but Pompeo is a cartoon villain. That book was CDN Chaos with a Z. Steve caught up. We have to step it up. No, you don't. You don't. Aris is at the end of the chat. I was at the end of the chat, I'm not anymore. Samuel Amsterdam, the E is silent. Hydrangea? Which E? And how could it, hydrangea. Oh, so don't say Ia. Okay, hydrangea. Okay, all right, fine. It's not an ingredient in Mega Stuff Oreos, so I don't know. Jonathan Noel, all good things come to the end, just the way it's always been. It might not seem that fair to you, but it is the start of something new. Okay, boomer. Wilson is again hydrangea. Okay, fine. All right, so you're all hydrangea fans. Great, fantastic. Tony Miller, hydrangea. Okay, I'm never going to grow these things nor eat them. Jack Hanlon, my neighbor. Hi, Steve. Don't you like my suggestions? But try hydrangea. Deep in the reads. Okay, he knows how to say it, so let's move on. Aaron, Steve is classically educated. He'll tell you how to pronounce Greek words. I don't instruct anyone on pronunciation at all. But now I know it's hydrangea. It's hydrangea. Okay, great. If I had ever actually pulled the trigger on having an actual in the dirt garden, maybe I would have grown one, and then I'd know the name long since, but I don't. Aaron says, tell us more about your education. All of the important parts of my education were imparted to me by a different species, not by humans at all. There's nothing I could tell you about that would make any sense to you. It all is stuff that comes into play when the bean and I are out and about and we meet another dog or a bunch of dogs. When that happens, then it comes into play because then, well, the human world is largely away from us anyway when we're out and about. That's why she doesn't particularly like it, but that's why I like to take her out in the wilderness, away from roads, away from people, away from cars. Once we've got ground under our feet and ground up above us and trees and nothing anywhere around us, then I don't have to think about the human world at all. Then I can just shift completely into her world. and the world of the coyotes that live that live in that area. I don't have to think about anything else. But the irony is that she prefers the human areas. She prefers to be around people. We did that. We split the difference today in terms of where we went because that's what she really enjoys. She enjoys being able to scream at people to stop what they're doing and fuss over her. She doesn't necessarily want to lick their faces. Doesn't necessarily care if they pet her, but she wants them to fuss. She has to be the apple of their eye. Oh, but wait. Oh my God. Geo Craftsman, thank you, dogs, for educating Steve. Deep in the Reads, do you have a favorite Barbara Tuchman book? I enjoyed A Distant Mirror and thought I should try reading more popular historians. My favorite Barbara Tuchman book is The Proud Tower. I just think the thing that a lot of you have noticed in A Distant Mirror about how good she is at crafting personalities with her pen, about how great she is with shaping and deploying the perfect anecdote. I think it reaches its height in The Proud Tower. I think it's just a great book for that. Uh, Aaron, I'm reading Turnbull's Samurai: A Military History. I don't think that's the kind of book that would look good on Kindle. That's an elaborate thing, if I remember correctly, right? It wouldn't probably look good on it. First of all, the best way to do it would be a PDF, and PDFs are notoriously bad on e-readers. On an iPad, it would be glorious, but on an e-reader, no, probably not. Samuel Amsterdam, have you read anything by Nicole Krauss? So not only do we get people asking, we got someone asking in jest, what do you think of Tolstoy? We got someone asking, I think in earnest, what do you think of K. Chopin? And now we have a have you read question. Great. Great. So we're approaching 10 past the hour, but we've hit the heights here. Uh, N. Paris says, have you gotten to see any coyotes yet? Yes. Yeah. There's at least one mated pair in the Arnold Arboretum, which is right near my house. They're deep in the interior of the Arboretum. They're well away from the pathways, but there's at least one mated pair there. And months and months and months ago, Frida and I met one of them at her brook. We went to her brook just so that she could take, she likes to dip her toes in and maybe get some water. And the male was directly across the brook just looking at us. that was incredible. So we got to meet the male, and then I've heard them. I hear them all the time. And it often sounds to me like they have company, which is why I'm pretty sure there's more than just one mated pair out there. But then just recently we met the female. So now we've met them both. Unless she's dead, there might be puppies. There might be puppies soon. But we've met them both now, at least two. And boy, oh boy, they are not Western coyotes at all. They've got wolf in them or domesticated dog because they're big. They're bigger than you. The first instinct I had, very first flash in my mind when I looked at that male across the brook was, is that a coyote? I mean, I know that it is. All of the phenotypes are the same, but it's too big. It's too muscular. It's too heavy to be a coyote. But they are, and I've heard that from all sorts of people, and all sorts of parts of the country that coyotes are getting bigger and more capable. Francisco, dogs and all animals are the best teachers that humanity can have, but most humanity hates teachers anyway. Well, I agree. I learned most of the important things about life from the people who raised me, which were dogs, with a little bit of side help from pigs, from farm pigs, who are also great teachers. Aaron, who are some popular historians that you would recommend? Well, forever on my channel, I have been recommending Francis Parkman. I've been recommending Samuel Eliot Morison. I've been recommending Bruce Catton. C.V. Wedgwood. I've been recommending these people for years, and I don't know how much of it has stuck, but they're great. They're absolutely great. Van Wyck Brooks, New England Indian Summer, all the books that he wrote, they're incredible. That kind of narrative gift that academia is largely abandoning in the 21st century. They're largely thinking, well, we don't need to bother. And it's a skill like anything else. You need to learn it. You need good teachers to teach it. Most teachers in most colleges who are teaching the next generation of historians don't know how to write like that at all. They don't know how to do it. Gagging for Lit, do you like the Muriel Spark biography by Martin Stannard? I loved it. I really liked it. Yeah. Uh, I'm losing the chat again, but I'm not going to. Aaron, have you read Harry Potter, best book ever? Francisco, me again. Is there any chance that you reread Nightwood? I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. It is my favorite novel. I don't have a reread planned. I hadn't thought about it, but all that would needed to change that would be if some publisher comes out with a really pretty edition and sends it to me. Then it goes right onto the reading roster. But in terms of the books that I'd reach out and reread, I hadn't planned on doing that this year. Spaminator made it past the first layer of security at Viagra headquarters. Gonna be sore. God. Kevin JN, I have a red fox that visits my home every morning in hopes for a rabbit or two, the the den under my porch. Are you in the UK? I always salivate when I see UK videos of any kind where they've got a fox just wandering around in the garden. I haven't met a fox in years. I met one in the arboretum with my girls about 20 years ago when they were very young. And my pointer wanted to kill the fox. I had to impose order on the whole thing. If I wanted to smooch with the thing, I needed to impose order on the whole thing. Of course, my basset hound Lucy did not understand what was going on at all, as usual. Once she realized that this was a stranger, all she thought was the same thing she thought all the time, which is maybe he'll impregnate me. That was my baby. My little hippo was always looking for the right fella. Never worked out. CDN Chaos Z. Oh, wait. I'm finding it difficult to get into Herodotus. Is the failure me, Herodotus, or the translator? It's not Herodotus, Bob. Okay, let's take that candidate right off the table. But I don't think it's you either. First of all, it's the oldest work of history, so you need a little bit of patience. You need to adapt to the rhythms of the narrator, of the narrative of the book. It's much much older than any other history. But once you're willing to do that, take the Steve approach. Try a bunch of translations. See which one works the best with you. Don't worry what critics or experts say about how reliable it is. Read that, and you'll have the book under your belt, and you can try another translation. Aaron, are you aware of the Soviet experiments to domesticate foxes, or it might have been coyotes? No, it was foxes, and they demonstrated pretty conclusively how fast domestication can happen. They took wild foxes and started getting not only learned behavior about what you get if you play nice, but also dog-like behavior. And sometimes, 4 generations in, changes to simulate dog-like physiology, the prolonged neoteny, right? One of the features that domesticated dogs have that wild canines tend not to have is that they are neotenous, they are childlike for a lot longer. With the proportion of the face and the nose and the eyes and the ears and also the behaviors, the body language. It, that Russian experiment and other Russian experiments like it prove that process can happen in the lifetime of a human being, which makes the domestication of dogs 275,000 years ago all the more understandable. It's all the more understandable. It's completely possible. You can do it in one lifetime of one human if you work at it. We have to assume that primitive humans or even non-humans did work at it. Seeing how useful it was to them, they probably did work at it. Michael Lombardo, hey, it's Monday stream. Hello, Steve. Hello. But we're not staying forever. We're staying until 10 past the hour, as always. I was just trying to catch up with uh, the stream. There we go. Okay. Bottle and Books. Andrew Roberts is an excellent popular historian, always enjoyable. Yes. Yes. A very, very good example. One of the best examples alive today. Maya says no other videos today. No, there are. Oh god, I might have forgot to upload. Oh my god, I think I forgot to upload. There are a couple of videos today. I did 10 yesterday, so I didn't think I needed to overload the airwaves today with anything, but I did. I probably just forgot to upload them. I'll do that as soon as we stop at 10 past the hour. Gagging for lit. We have foxes in the back garden of our house. Well, not here. Not here. We've got a very active and very territorial group of raccoons that I think keep out pretty much everybody else. The coyotes won't come this far. They won't come here. Let's see here. Kevin JN, I live in Point Pleasant Beach, New Jersey. Oh, okay. Francisco, for a second, I was so tempted to send you a copy, but I would not dare to violate rule number 1. A copy of, I forget what you were talking about. Don't send me a copy, though. Don't do it. Absolutely not. You're right. Aaron, I think a large reason for modern American writing sucking is Strunk and White. Well, if we broaden that from just Strunk and White to uh, viciously, fascistically repressive writing regimes in academia, then I would agree. Yeah, they impose not only a uniformity but a boring uniformity. Uh, let's see here. Maya. Anyway, since I cannot go back to sleep, I will read the Two Towers tonight. I have a Two Towers video. I guess I didn't upload it. I will upload my videos as soon as we stop the Steve stream. Deep in the reads. Speaking of popular historians, do you have any thoughts on the Hardcore History Project? The host isn't technically a historian, but really brings it to life. Helped me fall in love with history. I've heard good things about it. I don't think I've experienced directly myself. Book Songs and Other Magic. Hi, Steve. Hi, everyone. I live in the city, and there's tons of foxes here. One night there was a horrendous screaming sound going on outside my house. It was 7 foxes going crazy outside. Oh, wait, where'd you go? Madwood in the Attic is pronounced home on the hydrangea. Hydrangea, not Ia. Sarah Donahoe, do you not have as many foxes in the US? Dublin is riddled with them. A friend of mine had a pet fox in the back garden. Uh, well, in urban areas, we don't have as many that I know of in America. We got a vote from New Jersey, but usually not. But the key to remember uh, is that America has 320 million citizens and 1 trillion guns. So I'm amazed we have any animals at all. We certainly don't have a prevalence of foxes here. And I don't think that's the coyotes because they don't tend to cross the highway. There is a highway and train tracks, and they don't tend to do that. They tend to stay on the other side of that. And why shouldn't they? They've got a vast area to patrol. Uh, let's see here. Francisco is answering Book Songs and Other Magic. Okay, so we don't have to pay attention to that because you're talking amongst yourselves. Aaron, I read an article years ago about the lack of irony in American humor compared to British, which it put down to British having a deeper shared culture. Originally, it might have been that. It's not that anymore. Humor is largely forbidden in America. You get attacked if you tell jokes. Jokes are usually at the expense of something or somebody, and we are in the grip of a cultural censorship that is every bit as strong and unsleepingly vigilant as the Puritans were 300 years ago. So humor is largely the people who are in charge of the culture part of the culture war are absolutely, and I mean down to the genetic level, humorless. They're completely humorless. And not only are they humorless, but they don't like it in other people. They would outlaw it if they could, and they mostly can, especially in academia. So I don't. It once was uh, uh, the shared culture of Britain, the slightly smaller scale and shared culture. It's not anymore. Now it's top down. Francisco Nightwood. Oh, right, Nightwood. Well, as I mentioned, Nightwood was not instinctively on any kind of mental. I have a roster of potential mental rereads for any year, as I think a lot of people do, and it wasn't on any kind of roster like that for this year, unless a publisher sends me a new copy. So you absolutely shouldn't send me one. Absolutely not. Aaron, which America can't replicate for being unable to steep new immigrants into the same culture to the same degree? Oh, the deeper shared culture. Yeah. Well, yeah, there are elements there that just aren't the same at all. I mean, look at British BookTube channels, right? They skyrocket in subscriber count in a way that American channels tend not to. Yeah, part of it is endemic. Yeah. Alex Hardy, how about the History of Rome podcast? Are you a fan? I don't listen to podcasts at all. So I've heard good things about it, but I think I've heard good things about that one, but I don't listen to them at all. So Aaron, we have advantage of more cultural innovation, but at the cost of less depth. Uh, let's see here. The Spaminator. I've no. Okay, but your Viagra headquarters messages are going to get less and less the kind of thing that I'm going to read out loud. Book songs and other magic. That statistic about guns is pretty scary. Well, if you characterized it that way here in this room, I would have to shoot you. I know it is scary. And the worst part of it is that it's this roulette wheel. It's only a matter of time until everyone you know and you yourself are in that day's mass shooting. There are 2 mass shootings a day in America. And it happens in small towns, larger towns, and big cities. It happens everywhere in every venue. It's only a matter of time. Knowing that is so creepy. You look at the latest mass shooting in Baltimore or Louisburg or whatever, 10 people dead, barely makes the headlines anymore. And you think, okay, well, this one took place at an outside vegetable mart. I go to one of those 3 times a week. I'm not going to not do that. So it could have been me. Another one will take place in Newark on a subway platform. I'm on a subway platform 3 times a week. It could have been me. You know that roulette wheel is sooner or later going to stop where you are. Sooner or later, that's going to happen. And it's not a question of, well, if you get a stop, then you get a free pass for the next 10. It could happen 3 times in a row. Boston, not quite so much in terms of a mass shooting. Boston, years ago, had the Boston Marathon bombing. Made the news all around the world, where the finish line bombs went off the finish line of the Boston Marathon. Directly across the street, literally throw a baseball across the street from my library, from the Boston Public Library. Live footage of bombs going off, people having their legs blown off, a little boy being blown into 2 pieces. Nothing like that has happened in the Boston area, but it will. You know that it will. Anyway, let's see here. Alexis Kiri, that uniformity is found in modern music also. The business demands mediocrity. Oh, wait, did I lose you? It seems. There we go. Michael Lombardo, oh, wow, this has been going on a while. No questions this time around. News says it's 40th anniversary of a huge one-day snowstorm in New York and Boston before your time. We're getting all sorts of snow anniversaries. It would have been long before my time, yes. But, of course, the Blizzard of 78 is the one that everybody talks about here. Let's see here. Book Songs Under the Magic is responding to Francisco. Francisco is responding back. Deep in the Reads. Excited to see your March of the Mammoths. Would love to see individual videos on each one you read. My entire year looks full of mammoths, so it'll help motivate me. Also, perhaps another mammoth coming along in March, in addition to the ones I mentioned. Perhaps another one. Is it possible? Could be. Deep in the Reads. Planning on Herodotus, Don Quixote, David Copperfield, Mason and Dixon. Aaron, what features would you want in your ideal e-reader? That's a real good question. I really like that. I would like, first of all, being me, I would like them to be 10 times more durable. I think about the Star Trek data pad, which is the schematics tell you that you could drop it from 40 meters and not bother it at all. I would like that. I would like it in an ideal e-reader. It would be one solid block of textured metal, and what it would do is somehow the technology of the device would allow the book to be projected through or on top of the metal of the display. And ideally, my ideal e-reader would be such. I don't think this technology exists. I think I'm just anticipating, but ideally, it would be a thing like this. But it wouldn't have just one reading side. Either one would work. I would be able to use it it'd be a lot more durable and a lot more adaptable. And also, of course, it would charge without a power cord. It would have photovoltaic cells inside that charge with any kind of light, visible or not. There's photonic energy around you at all times. It is entirely possible to make a photonic cell that works on that energy. Doesn't have to be sunlight. Doesn't have to be anything like that. It would be working all the time. It would never need charging. You would never need to think about charging this device at all. Any device. That, of course, would go hand in hand. The fact that I have to plug this thing in ever feels so old. It feels just so old. Anyway, Kramer Canids. Hi, Steve. Curious how you think Ron Chernow stacks up among modern biographies and historians. Enjoyed his Grant biography. I like him a lot, usually. I hate his Washington biography. Absolutely hate it. But I like a lot of the rest of it. His Grant book is great. Aaron, to put it another way, what would be the device that makes you get rid of every other device and your physical library? Something like the one I described. I always think about a Star Trek data pad would probably do it, where it's drawing power from some source. Star Trek data pads draw power from any other power source around them. And they have excellent storage. They're almost physically indestructible. They're incredibly capable of all sorts of things. In other words, I would want a device like this that was built without the priorities of a certain retail manufacturer. I would want it to be absolutely future-proof, just a solid, self-contained device. Nick Picarilli, is that a March STD hint? No, no, it's not. Ooh, it could be something else. You never know. I love mammoths. You don't think I'm going to let it go? It's just 4 books, do you? Oliver Anderson. Oh no, are we about to catch a mammoth STD? Nope, nope. I'm going to announce March's STD pick, and I hope that a lot of you will join me. But it's not technically a mammoth. No, it's not a short book, but it's not a mammoth. Uh, let's see here. Blue Laser Ryan. I'm back. We need a color e-ink Kindle. Oh, it's coming. Absolutely coming. Spaminator. I just realized. Oh, the M&M's off the right. This bit. Alex Hardy. I'm curious how you think Dan Jones or Alison Weir stack up to other popular historians of medieval British dynasties. Depending on who you mean. Jan Jones and Alison Weir are very reader friendly. They're very basic. They're very enjoyable. To me, they're pretty shallow. And I don't think that has to do with how much I've read on the subject. I think if you read Dan Jones on the Hundred Years' War directly after reading Barbara Tuchman on the Hundred Years' War, you would think, yeah, this guy's pretty easy. This is pretty shallow. Even though I don't know the specific details because I haven't researched them, I think he is underestimating my intelligence in a way that I have noticed Barbara Tuchman never did. I think you would notice that. I think you would feel that. And that's what I mean. It has absolutely nothing to do with the depth of their research. It's that. Uh, Long Chen, is this mobile phone flat or folded? Yeah, I don't get folded technology. I don't get that. I've never seen the appeal of that as an innovation. I wish that the innovation that was driven into foldable technology had gone instead to making it more durable. Uh, let's see here. Aaron said, "Oh, where'd you go? Can we get a Steve stream on fiction writing technique? A writing Steve stream is a very good idea. The writing community needs more of a little touch of Harry in the night. I've stopped. I haven't made any AuthorTube videos in 2023 yet, and that's terrible. I should do that. Drunzo is here. Good Lord, I just got here. What's today's topic? Two topics that converge: mass market paperbacks and are they doomed? A Michael K. Vaughan video, and the latest Kindle Basic, which was an Ollie, Criminale video. But we have strayed far afield, and it's 10 past the hour in just a minute, which is when we're leaving. We're wrapping this up at 10 past the hour. Francisco, my last question: what do you think about the Kindle Scribe, a Kindle for reading and writing? I would never use it for writing. I don't. I like typing. I don't like writing with my hand. I don't get that at all. I waited patiently to be liberated from the need to write like that. So it'd be a waste for me to get it the way it is now because I would be ignoring half of its functionality. But I'm curious to see what e-reading would be like on that size. I've never done that. I've read books on that size, but on the iPad, not with e-ink. So I'm not sure what that's like, and I wonder if I would like it. Um, Alex Hardy, why do you prefer for those British dynasties? Who do you prefer for those British dynasties besides Tuckman? Uh, well, are we ruling out Thomas Costain? Is he too old? Is because you would if you're loving Buck Tuckman, you would love him. You would absolutely love Thomas Costain, and he wrote in the exact same period. Wrote 4 books on the same subject, and he's great. He is great. Find a used. You could go on eBay and get a copy of him. I'm sure for $1. Nobody reads him or cares about him anymore. Costain. Go to eBay and look for a copy of the Three Edwards. You won't be sorry. Oh man, you won't be sorry. Deep in the reads. Oh, speaking of presidents, could we have a mini rant on why you don't like Washington and what you think a good biography would need to do to depict him accurately? Do you know of any? We don't have enough time. We're ending at 10 past the hour, and it's already 11 past the hour. And there's nothing I like about Washington except that he didn't make himself a dictator when he could have. Other than that, I hate it all. I hate it all. He was a vicious, punitive slave owner. He was an incompetent general at every level, on every stage of his career. Made gruelingly, howlingly incompetent decisions that every one of his experienced subordinates underneath him thought knew were disastrous the minute he did it. He was also a liar, an opportunist, a grifter. There's nothing much that I liked about him. Uh, let's see here. Michael Lombardo, have you found personal reading speed increased with denim Kindle versus paper? Not really, no, but I've heard it reported from other people. My reading speed is pretty healthy anyway, but I've heard reported from other people that they fly when they're reading electronically. That it feels so much more convenient that they with a print and paper book, you've got to work your way through it. Okay, well, and with a book, you're not involved at all. Your thumb is right there, and you're not even thinking that you're turning the page, the screen. So I've heard from people that that speeds things up. Aaron, or could we get a Steve stream or in-depth video on how to eliminate sub-vocalizing? Practice is the only thing that will do it. You know how to do it. What you're really asking, I think, is how can I do it in a week? You can't. You learned how to sub-vocalize over 3 or 4 years when you were a kid. It's going to take time to unlearn it. But a Steve stream about writing is not a bad idea at all. I should do more writing content. I really should. Uh, but anyway, we're going to start wrapping this up. Yes. And Paris, I would love a writing Steve stream / more AuthorTube videos. Yes, I should definitely do more writing videos. People love them. And since my channel is dying, I'm free to do whatever I want. Yuri, not Yuri. Steve, would you recommend Victor Sebastian's biography of Lenin the Dictator? Is it good as a political history? The political part of it, I think, the weakest part of it. It's very good, but with Lenin, you're going to have to read a few things. I think, even though he's horrible company to spend time with, definitely read it. But I wonder if you will read it and think, I kind of want more of context here. Maybe not. I know some people have read it and haven't thought that. Aaron is responding to Ann Paris. Carolyn Nixon, fiction writing technique would be more interesting to me than reading technology channel for your second channel. The second channel, if it's anything, will be reading technology. I can do writing on this channel. Let's see here. Ann Paris is responding to Aaron. Aaron, Steve, I think a significant portion of your imaginary friends are writers. I agree. And more of them should be. All of them should be. Shoemaker, only lurking today. Good night. Okay, well, we're leaving. We're wrapping this up. So just as well. Alex Iskiri, Washington sounds a lot like Trump. Yeah, except Washington didn't try to violently overthrow the government, civilian government. It's the one thing I like about him, is that he didn't try to do that. Blue Laser Ryan, on the subject of biographies, I read Rebel Yell by S.G. Gwynn. It was good, but it felt like he romanticized him way too much. I wrote a very entertaining review of that book. I wish I could remember to. I wish I could link something in this. I really enjoyed reviewing that book. Deep in the Reads, thanks for the Washington rant. Point taken. You will have to read a full biography of him. Set the record straight yourself. Or right, I think you mean a full biography of him. Be the change you want to see in the world and all that. The Spaminator, fiction writing Steve stream is a great idea. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to scrub with a new wire brush and Dettol. Gagging for lit. Thanks for the live honey bun. Well, thank you, sweet pea. Michael Lombardo, until next time. Michael Lombardo is asking incredulously, did you refer to me as honey bum? And you did not. You said honey bun, but I like honey bum even better. I don't know why you people put up with me. I really don't. Geo Craftsman, I would love a writing Steve stream. I've been wondering how to revise. I will gladly do it. Yes. Alexis Carey, your channel is dying. What? Oh, yes, it is. It's going down in subscribers. 30 or 40 every day. Yeah. Yeah. You people used to be talking about doing a 14K Q&A. We'll hit 13K before we hit 14K. Blue Laser Ryan is responding to Alexis Carey. Washington gave up military power. Would you ever see Trump do that? No. What was it? Just recently was in the Atlantic or the New Republic. Somebody wrote that January 6th, the armed deadly insurrection to overthrow the government of my country on January 6th at the Capitol was the North Korean military parade that Trump has always wanted. The Spaminator's responding to the fact that I snort laughed. Oh no. Yes. Sarah the Bookish Knitter and I have that in common among many other things. Is that sometimes when we really crack each other up, we snort. I'm sorry. It's very, very embarrassing. Drunzo, when's the philosophy writing technique Steve stream happening? Yeah, I could film it in the bathroom at just the right moment. Francisco, my final question, if I may. I haven't hear your reading plans lately. I haven't hear you reading plays lately. Are there any on your horizon? It'll be collections. There are 2 collections coming out, I think, next month. 1 collection coming out in the summer. Won't be anything that I'll go out and get on my own. No. But what publishers send me will largely determine stuff like that. You're mostly naming things that I will read them, but I'll only read them if publishers send them to me. I won't go out of my way on my own. I have a whole bunch of other stuff I want to do reading wise this year. Oh, Francisco again. I've heard The Intelligent Homosexual's Guide to Capitalism and Socialism with a Key to the Scriptures by Tony Kushner is coming out in print. Uh, I hadn't heard that. But anyway, we are now 17 past the hour, and I am caught up on the chat. This was enormous fun. 100 and plus people. This was enormous fun. I cannot thank you all enough. We talked all about this subject. We talked all about this subject, and we talked about a ton of other subjects too. How fun! How fun is that? This was wonderful, but I do want to wrap it up. I have a writing thing to do that I don't want to do at all. Not at all, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. It's going to get done. I'm going to do it in the next hour. I'm setting myself for 8. Uh, so I'm gonna wrap this up and do that. But we will do this again. Uh, maybe tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow we will. Yeah, maybe so. Like for instance, Alan Black is asking Steve's opinions on Ring of Power. Maybe tomorrow I'll do a Steve stream just on the Rings of Power. Maybe I will. Mad Woman in the Attic says you're at 13.9. Yes, I'm at 13.9. I'm at 13,900 subscribers. A week ago, I was at 13,950 subscribers, and then 960 subscribers, and all of you were talking about a 14K Q&A. And in that time, just that time, it's gone down to almost exactly 13,900, which is a drop of 60 people. Steadily down. I don't care about it, so I don't ever look at it. But when I do look at it, when I go to YouTube Studio to upload something, which I got to remember to do, I didn't upload videos today. You're all reminding me of that. That number is front and center. It's the first thing I see, so I can't help but notice that that is going down. I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to reach 13,000 before I reach 14,000, and I don't care about it at all. I have all of you here already. I don't need the number is meaningless. I have all you here already. I have great engagement. People love to watch my videos and talk about them. I have fun watching other people's videos. What do I need with a number other than that? But anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. We will talk about all this tomorrow. So I will wrap this up, and I will see you then. Zip, the baby is awake. Oh, look at this. The whole side of her face is pressed down. Oh, hey baby, who's the baby? Oh, you were asleep. You were sound asleep. Everybody's looking at you. They were all looking at my baby. You want to show your face to the camera? There you are. Mm. But anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. I will be back. Thank you, BookTube.